It's Kyle, and in the spirit of Halloween, since it's coming up, I'm going to be doing today's book review in my Halloween costume, and this year I'm going to be a construction worker. So now that I have my hard hat on, it's safe to proceed with the book review for today. I am reviewing Z for Zachariah by Robert O'Brien. Really love this book. It's a great book. I kind of lucked up in getting this one. As many of you know, Borders Books went out of business, and before they went out of business, they had a huge sale, discounting their books, 60, 70, 80% off. So I happened to be by one day when they were having their big sale, so I strolled in and watched since the books were so cheap. Never heard of this book, but it looked interesting, so I got it, and I'm so glad I did because I really loved it. The basic story is the main character is Anne. She's a 16-year-old girl. She lives on a small farm in a rural part of the United States. It's never really specified where in the United States. It's just a rural farm. And this is some period during the Cold War between the United States and Soviet Union. Again, they're not real specific when, so you don't know if it's 50s, 60s. This was written in the 70s, but you don't know. They might be meaning for this to be set in the future. It's not really clear, but my guess from the stuff they describe in the book is probably supposed to be set in the 50s or the 60s. And basically one day a nuclear war happens. Also, war involves biological, chemical, all sorts of nasty weapons. Anne doesn't really know the details because basically when this book starts, the war has already happened and over with, and she's just living in the aftermath. And basically what happened, at least from her perspective, the war has basically killed every other person on the planet. Her family happened to survive the very beginning of the war, and then they went to explore the nearby towns to see if anybody else was alive, see if they could get some more supplies and stuff, and they never came back. And as Anne explored, she realizes the valley that her family's farm is in, when you go up to the ridges of that valley, you look over, all the plant life's dead. There's no signs of any animals live outside there, no signs of humans. Her valley was protected from the effects of the war. And basically, later on in the book, it's kind of explained that the valley is, the way it's situated, it kind of has its own little weather system, and she theorizes that somehow this protected her family's farm from the impact of the nuclear weapons and the biological and stuff. So for all she knows, her little valley is the only place left on the planet where life still exists. So she goes through this for a while, and then her world dramatically changes. Basically, the book is told from Anne's point of view in journal entries. So each chapter begins, saying what the day is. The start of one. So chapter 2 is May 23rd, and then Anne begins to tell. So everything's told through her point of view, through her journal entries. And basically early on, she begins to see smoke in far off. First she thinks maybe, some of the dead forest has caught fire or something like that. But then she slowly notices, day after day, the smoke gets closer, and it's just this real small string of smoke. It's not like a big fire. And eventually she figures out it looks like somebody's setting a fire towards the end of the day to keep warm, maybe cook some food. Then next day the smoke gets a little closer, so she begins to think she might be not the last person left. There might be somebody else out there, which she'd kind of been hoping for. But when she gets faced with this fact, she suddenly becomes very scared and afraid what this might mean. So as the guy gets closer to her valley, she kind of hides in the wooded parts of it to see what's going to happen. And eventually she does spy this gentleman coming into her area. The mask kind of depicts what he looks like. And basically, he's coming from the barren wasteland. He's completely protected by what to her looks like a plastic suit with like a gas mask on that apparently is protecting him from the elements that's killed everybody else. That's what this book deals with, because basically everything I told you up is just really the setup. The entire book really deals with her interaction with this man. And the thing she has to figure out is, was it better off when she was by herself, or is this guy coming really a good thing? And there's a description on the back I think sums it up very perfectly. both excited and terrified, and soon realizes there may be worse things than being the last person on Earth. So from that little sentence there, you can probably guess that things begin not to go so well with this stranger. There are certain mysterious elements with him that she's trying to figure out if he's a good guy or a bad guy. And really this book, like a lot of other books that deal with kind of an Armageddon type situation, really focuses on how different people react to such dire situations in different ways. Some people kind of become better people and really rise to the challenge and become, great people, and they really make everybody else proud. They really choose the right way. Other people go the exact opposite, and their worst comes out in them. It really does kind of explore how this dire situation really impacts people differently. Really interested. I enjoyed the character, and she's very fascinating. It's kind of interesting because she's basically, like I said, she's 16, so she's kind of growing up during this extreme situation. So at the same time, she's trying to find her way in the world, and yet trying to survive in this horrific situation she finds herself in. She talks about earlier stuff. She realizes that she'll never really have a job. She'd always dreamed of being a teacher. Well, she'll never get a chance to be a teacher. She always wanted to get married, and now she wonders, will she get married? That's one of the first things she wonders when this guy kind of comes in the valley. Well, if this is a good guy, maybe I can finally get married. Stuff like that. But at the same time, she's faced with those situations where she's just trying to survive and, make the best out of this horrible situation she finds herself in. So really enjoyed this book. It is a great read. It's a real short read, too, so it's one of those books you can polish off in a day or two. Fast read. Really enjoyed the style it's done with in journal entries. So I would highly recommend Z for Zachariah by Robert O'Brien. I hope you'll read it, and hope you will have a great Halloween. If you're dressing up for Halloween, maybe let me know in the comments what you're dressing up as. I'm sure it'll be a lot cooler than my construction worker costume. This is not really the most elaborate costume in the world, but I happen to have a hard hat on hand, so I thought it'd be make it simple on me. So I'm a construction worker. What are you going to be? Let me know, and I hope you'll read Z for Zachariah as well. See you next time.